Hey, Toby, you got a question for Mark here? I'm gonna let you go.
All right, thank you. So I guess another big question is how long you think this could potentially last? Like, I think I've been reading reports, and especially the doctor that described the situation, it could take up to probably about like 8 weeks, and then it should mostly just die out from there. What's your point on that?
That's a good question. The Spanish flu lasted 2 years,
Hmm.
right? 1918, I think, to 1920. So we could be looking at a cyclic, like influenza comes and goes. We could be looking at that, but it's not the same as influenza because it dies out. Once you caught it, you never catch it again, ever. It dies out. And that's very important to remember, because in this United States, as of yesterday, there were only 1,629 cases total.
Has that been proven yet that people
From
have
the
gotten
CDC.
it and they can't get it again?
Yes, that's an absolute
CDC site.
element. Yep. The CDC will tell you that.
I didn't even know that. Okay,
Yeah.
so you wait. So once you get this, you can't get it again?
Correct.
Well, not for at least a
So
long
it's like
time, maybe?
chicken
Well,
pox.
period, ever. You'll never
Chicken
get
pox.
like chickenpox.
Then what are we talking about here?
Exactly. What's the whole point of this? And what kind of breaks down to a good segment is the Democrat Party itself is trying the most complete hardest to literally just eradicate the Trump spirit.
Well, his approval rating has gone down 11 points in the last 7 days.
Which is ridiculous.
And it's even deeper than that. There's more information. Let's look at it from the perspective of why. Why is this being blown up? Why is this so big? How has it become such panic? I'll tell you. The Dow Jones Industrial Average went down 2,352 points. I think that was on Monday or Tuesday. And it shattered the old record of 2013 points that was set on Monday. Yeah, Monday. Overall, the Dow was down 9.99%, was the biggest percentile decline since the nightmarish stock market crash of 1987. That's from a website called Zero Hedge, which is a fund manager website, Zero Hedge. Now, why? How? I'll tell you why. Because there are only six major companies that control the media of all types: movies, television, radio, internet. There are only six companies that control that. They are Time Warner, which owns CNN, which owns a myriad of other companies. And I think Time Warner just got purchased out again. Walt Disney, Viacom, which is now, I believe, owned by Walt Disney. I may be wrong about that. But Walt Disney, Rupert Murdoch's News Corporation, which is Fox and various others, CBS Corporation, and NBC. Now, NBC Universal is owned by Universal, which is owned by, I believe it's Universal, but it's owned by Disney. Again, going back to these six media corporations are all owned by never Trump or liberal Democrats. They're wholly owned by them, except for perhaps Rupert Murdoch. But then, his kids took over. And now his kids are definitely not Trumpers.
Yeah, you saw the shift too.
That's exactly right. You've seen. I was just going to say that. So if you have just six companies controlling millions of viewers and controlling them in every way, from the writing of movies, the dissemination of Netflix, Hulu, and all of these other great companies, they're all owned by these six major corporations. Imagine how easy it is to get a narrative started and control it. And then when you get FOMO going, you know what FOMO is? FOMO? Fear of missing out.
Okay.
That's an actual Wall Street term. That's why people panic buy and panic sell.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. This FOMO is spreading faster than COVID. When you see one person, your neighbor, rush into Walmart and buy 30 packages of toilet paper, why are you doing that? Because COVID is spreading. We're going to be
or you could even, okay, so I'm in this category. I got 4 rolls left. I keep hearing about how people are rushing to go get toilet paper.
Yes,
I need toilet paper, and I want to be ready for the next 2 weeks just in case I can't get it again. So I end up. There's this guy I listen to. His name's Dan Bongino. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. Okay, he called it the prisoner's dilemma. So basically, you know, like they might be doing all this for one motive, and it forces you to join them, because if you don't, you're going to pay. You know?
Now, there's another element to this. It's a very delicate and very deep issue, and that is misinformation, disinformation from the government. Listen to this Chuck Schumer tweet and tell me something about it. And it was fact checked, believe it or not, by MSN News, which you can't trust. But listen to this. In 2018, and this is a quote from Chuck Schumer, our great Senate Minority Leader. In 2018, CDC was forced to reduce the number of countries it operated in from 48 to 10, end quote. He put that right out there. He said that on Twitter. He caused people that follow him and many, many media outlets to report this. And it was a lie. It was even fact-checked by MSN to be found to be a false claim. He lied. Yeah. Well, why would he do that? Because it hurts Donald Trump. It hurts the economy. All of it is aimed at the economy. Crashing the economy is the only way these people with this 6 corporation hold, with the government left, with all of these Soros people being paid off, this is the only way they could collapse it.
I think Trump right now is kind of at a double negative, right? Yeah. I think this is kind of something that he's never experienced before in his life. I think when it comes to everything, he's even, let's start, you know, the big things. First, Russia investigation. Trump's been investigated plenty of times in his life. This is not a first for him. He knows how to conduct business while getting investigated at the same time. Okay. He knows how to, you know what I mean? Like, impeachment. All right. Same thing. It's another investigate. What he does to combat that is he goes hard into business. He does what he knows best, and he goes into that. At this point in time, the problem is he doesn't have kind of that reflex to fall back on, the business kind of thing, because if he shows more that he's more worried about our economy than he is human lives, they're going to capitalize on that. And they have been capitalizing on that. That's all you hear on the media, basically, is that Trump cares more about the stock market than he does actual people, you know, and that's why these tests, you know, they didn't take these South Korean tests that they were using and these tests from these other places. But then you hear during this presser earlier, during the announcement, that our tests are twice as effective. And if we would have gone through with that, first of all, it would have taken 2 weeks probably to even get a good amount of these test kits here. All right. It would have taken a long time, especially with how the chaos there. And second of all, I mean, these things have to be approved by the FDA. We have professionals here in the United States. Our medical system, our medical professionals are better than anywhere else in the world. There's a reason for that. And I understand that that's where the regulations come into play. There's certain steps and regulations that come into play and stuff. Some unnecessary, some necessary. But you got to sift through that. And that doesn't take just a day. You know what I mean? And there's more things too than the coronavirus that you have to balance when you're the president. So
right.
where do you think, I'll ask you, Toby. I'm gonna get into your head now. You all right with that? Are you prepared, bro? I just came out of nowhere and I'm like, all right.
Let's do it up.
Let's dive into
all right, Toby. What do you think President Trump's mindset should be from here on out? What do you think it should be? With everything involved, everything going on, we have the elections, 8 months away now, right? Something like that.
Yep.
November 2nd away. Yeah. So what do you think it should be his mindset right now? What do you think? Do you think that he's doing the right thing right now? What's your idea on it?
Well, I definitely feel that and think itself that he should squash this thing like a bug on the windows on a driving down the highway. Squash like a bug. Boom, done. Get over with. The reason behind that is because if he doesn't squish this, Biden and Bernie, and I'm gonna go back to the town hall meeting that Bernie had. Bernie had a town hall meeting saying that Larry blasted him out of the water, at least try to blast Trump out of the water about the coronavirus, and he's not getting a test kits. He's not giving us this to protect.
He was trying to promote Medicare for all with it.
Exactly. So he's trying to literally this complete black him right in the head and try to take him out before he had a chance to do it. So with him literally going full throttle on this, keeping it on the low down, so he has all the facts, all the information, everything all in line. So by midnight tonight, a lot of the projects are going to be completed and enrolled. As well, by the last official night, everything will be pushed through this Sunday night.
This is also government too, though. Like
Correct.
Trump is one man; he's not God. And coming from, I know all of our point of views, we're kind of anti-big government because we know government doesn't work effectively. So Trump can have kind of all the ideas in the world, and he can kind of be like, we are going to use the full force of the government. But even in his own mind, he knows it doesn't work that effectively. So it's kind of, like I said, that kind of double negative sort of thing. He's kind of forced into acting fast and kind of with the full force of the government that he's using, that he knows himself that private sector does better.
Well, let me read you something that a question that was.
Thank you, Toby.
Posted, if I may, just for a second. I'm just going to jump in here, take my liberty. Can you imagine what's going to happen with these companies that are shutting down various ways of doing business? Okay, first of all, let's look at New York. There was a symposium scheduled called Doing Business Under Coronavirus, and it was going to bring in world leaders and bring in all of these top-rated people and talk about doing business under coronavirus. Guess what? It got canceled because of coronavirus. Okay, so when big public things like this, big public gatherings, when large cities join together and call a state of emergency before the president does, and they do it at an early stage, there's two things that might happen. If you didn't do it and someone died, they'd be sued into oblivion, right? But if they do it, and how long can you keep this up? How long will we be staying under this state of emergency? So President Trump, to do this right now, amps up the panic mode. It gives the media, again, these 6 corporations, and they're shills. They work for the liberal Democrats. They work for the GMOs, or the NGOs rather, George Soros and them. It gives them now the cannon fodder they needed to blast headline head cases around this country and around the world into oblivion, into a full-blown panic mode. How long can they keep this up? It says, can you imagine the giant temper tantrum if Donald Trump announced in-state travel restrictions? You can't go to California, you can't go to Washington, for example. Earlier today, the top headline on CNN was, quote, America's way of life changes indefinitely, end quote. And for once, they got it exactly right. As long as this virus is spreading out of control, decision makers all over the Western world will be afraid to resume normal activities. Just think about it. If you're a decision maker and you resume normal activities too quickly, someone could get sick and die. Not only will that cost you your job or your company, it could put you into a lawsuit and sue you into oblivion. Mm-hmm. That's what we're facing. And we are already seeing that panic. Look, these shelves being emptied of toilet paper, what is that? Has nothing to do with a respiratory infection. Toilet paper, not food, not drinks, but water and toilet paper.
Yeah.
You're going to be
well, I mean, we're also in 2020. We are in the information age. We've been in the information age for over 20 years now. You know, just recently, the last 12 to 15 years with Facebook, Twitter. I think between the difference, I mean, when swine flu was going on, I was in high school. I was like a freshman in high school, sophomore in high school. I had a phone, but I didn't have a Twitter. I had a Facebook, but I didn't care about anything but girls. You know what I mean? Like and then Ebola, I was deployed in the Marines, and kind of, we didn't really care about anything that was going on anywhere else than where we were.